Tempo Storm's Battleground now on deck. We'll see where they want to take us, as Miracle chose Infernal Shrine, somewhere that Tempo Storm in the past maybe not has felt as confident, but has more recently been okay to play on.
Yeah, and I mean, I like the point you bring up once again before about the Cursed Hollow adaptation. It's a macro map. It's a map that we've seen, you know, Tempo Storm be quite comfortable to play if they need to, and run some interesting, quirky strats. We sort of Lucio, we sort of, hey, Gen G, we're going to try and, like, you know, play this game of Cluedo, and like, where are we? Are we pushing your keep? What are we doing, right? So they're like, we don't want no shenanigans. It's almost a case of like, hey, we'd much rather you play Braxis. Yeah, like, we just don't want to verse that Cursed Hollow, G's.
Well, talking about quirky strats in the last game, not that it was that quirky, especially for Nacho, but, you know, you were thinking about it, the Sonya and Nacho Jin being able to bring in that kind of old play, that old hero. Nacho Jin is also kind of seen as maybe a big reason why they're able to get consistent victories over Gen G, because his old teammate that he won BlizzCon with in 2016, Noblesse, coaching Gen G now. Do you feel like that's a big reason for the success, or is it something else?
I mean, I think that, you know, Noblesse is a player that's really helped level up Gen G, and, you know, Nacho Jin's had his moments of success. He's been a champion, right? But he also thinks outside the box in a lot of ways, and I think he's a very intelligent player. He was not originally a melee, for those who remember. He was a ranged flex, and he was a Falstad main, basically, and ended up being a split pusher. So for him to play Sonya, it's a similar idea in terms of the top lane, right? And it's such a bad matchup for Illidan. In the past, though, when you're Sonya versus Illidan, back in like 2015, 2016, you always had an engagement tank to back you up, so like a Muradin or an ETC or an Anubarak. So when you're losing that matchup, there's a gank. But when you know, and you're 5th pick Sonya, you know they have Arthas as their main tank. They've shown the Illidan, so it's not offlane Arthas. You know that you're always going to be safe. Like, there's no Muradin to come get you, and they got so much value out of that.
Well, let's see where Tempo Storm wants to take us for Game 2, and their best shot at being able to tie up with Miracle. They're going to pick Sky Temple. Now this is especially curious, because throughout Part 2, Tempo Storm was banning Sky Temple. He thinks a strategy is afoot.
This really has to be a case of, I'm personally betting on the idea that we're going to see a lot of Aberfil. The interaction at an Aberfil has to be a priority. Sure, Medivh will still be a big focal point for me, but I feel like this is along the same stretch lines, Wolfoff. We want that Cursed Hollow, we want that macro pressure, we want to try and split you up, because predominantly Miracle are a fantastic team fighting team. Not the best on macro. Can we try and split them apart? Can we try and find some advantages in other lanes? And then at the end of the day, when it does come to these temples themselves, we can both try and, you know, give it a roll for that team fight skirmish.
A lot of their won games in League play were actually won by late game team fights where they were down multiple keeps. They lost the macro battle. They lost control of this map multiple times, BOE as well. They take that late game team fight. But when you think about average game length, this is one of the fastest maps, generally speaking. You can win this map really quick with a decisive play that gets you 10, that gets you boss, that gets you control of the temples. So I think it's a smart choice. Miracle was always known for their early game in 2017, early 2018, but now it's like macro doesn't give those edges for them anymore. So it may just be Tempo trying to play standard, win that first fight, get that boss play, and try to snowball this. Take a win, steal a win even, away from Miracle here.
Tempo played a very good Sky Temple game versus Heroes Hearth Esports, where Heroes Hearth didn't respect how hard they pushed the top lane with the bruisers at the beginning. They got far more structural damage done than they should have gotten done. That may be something that they're looking for, since we've already seen this strategy before with the Anubarak and the Greymane. A lot of structure pressure, a lot of camp pressure early on to try to get that snowball.
Yeah, and they take away the Aberfil once again, and, they take away the Uther. They're quite happy to leave that Medivh through, and Medivh is a pick that's going to definitely fall on through in this draft. Miracle not known for their Medivh play, so Tempo Storm quite happy with this opening.
And I don't know that they're super happy with that, because both Junkrat and Garrosh, pretty good anti-siege.
And insanely good boss control as well. Once you get the Warlord's Challenge, you've got the concussive mine to knock members away. Sure, Anubarak's very good at engaging in that boss pit, but if you're going to try to snowball this game, if you're going to try to win it early, then that boss control is your absolute prime place to put all your kind of cards for this draft. And Blaze ban, you're intelligent. Here's the Lucio ban coming out as well here. A bit of a June special there.
But it rings bells once again to what we saw on Cursed Hollow, right? They had this composition with the Lucio looking to speed boost around, and it's a case of, hey, if you go for that Temple, aka a boss on Cursed Hollow, we're going to try and get that split push. We're going to try and do some damage. So I respect it.
It's such good research to recognize that Lucio enables those faster rotations, and then a Global will still be able to help with that macro pressure, adding in Glaurung's Dahaka, and we get the Tassadar again. Still waiting to see what that last pick will be. You would think it would be a support.
Yeah, well, you would think so. Abathur's banned, so we're not going to see any Tassadar Abathur or anything crazy like that. But let's see what Miracle wants to bring as their mainline DPS. Phoenix is still available. I think he's pretty safe here. And they're actually going to go with Li Ming. So one of Frankel's best heroes. I think this is more of a comfort pick than perhaps what most would consider the best meta pick. And June's going to bring out the Alex Strasza. Very good at escaping, very good at pushing objectives. If you can even use it to the Dragon Queen to force a fight as you're trying to push a fort or a shrine.
Yeah, both teams have played Alex Strasza in part 2 on this map, but for that it gives some, temple control, now some boss control with the wing buffet knocking people back. But it's unusual to see Alex Strasza outside of Infernal Shrines.
Well, that was going to be my main point there. You're not going to go for a Fausta because you need that extra supporting capabilities. Medivh doesn't really feel too nice, especially when you got the Tesla already. And as you mentioned, it's kind of like that mini Fausta Gust, right? So you have that point control. Because if you're looking at what Miracle have so far, there is no hope that you're actually ever going to get on there to try and get that cap.
All right, well, I know someone who will be very excited to see that Alex Strasza, and that's Dreadnought, and he's with Jayhow for Game 2.
We both know that's not a true statement. Alex Strasza, a little bit difficult for me to get behind sometimes, but I will say, I think this is one of the more creative iterations of the Alex Strasza we've seen because we know Temple wants to siege up. Alex Strasza actually has some of the best with the abundance, just sieging capabilities in the earlier stages, but there are a lot of tools to be able to deal with it on the side of Miracle.
I think a lot of it came down to, it looks like Miracle did their research. One of the best counters to this was the Junkrat, and they mentioned the Garrosh as well, to say, hey, walk up to our gate, we'll send you over right where you want to be. So we'll see how that happens. Glaurung's going to be on that Dahaka this game, but Fan and Caterpillar, that's going to be the rotating comp that we're going to see the most of, while Ven will take care of that off lane with some of those Psy Storms, trying to get that stacked up and keep the lane clear so you can find advantages elsewhere.
Yep, and up for Miracle, Sniper there on that Junkrat. We got Frankel playing that Li Ming, looking for resets. Nacho Jin slowing down the retreat of Tempo Storm in those rotations. Blue Beetle on Tyrande, and Judy there onto the Garrosh. But one thing also with the Alex Strasza, diving a little bit deeper into that she does do in this situation is Tempo Storm with this composition and Nubarak, Greymane, offlane split pushing. As long as you get a little, as long as it's going to plan even a small fraction, you normally are at least half of structure or major objective ahead in shots when you see about the 13 to 16 range in the next Shrine phase spawning. And what she can do, due to that Dragon Queen, is really threat off some of those independently by herself in that Dragon Queen form and get those shots. And normally that doesn't matter that much. You always go, well, you have to win a team fight at some point in time. But if she can keep that up long enough and successful enough in that mid to late game, that's suddenly a, hey, these shots are on your core and we're too far ahead structurally for Miracle to ever recover.
I want to highlight what we saw there from Junkrat in that bottom lane when we got the first look. That trap was behind the gate. He didn't put down a concussion mine yet. You can see it right there. That's because if there was that 3 to 4 man approach in that bottom lane, then he was going to try and find an angle to hit that concussion mine directly over into that. So this is a very calculated anti-siege capability that we're seeing from Miracle. You're going to see that throughout the game. Once he started to move out into the lane, he puts that concussion mine and lives on that concussion mine to avoid any type of dive. So just the early game strategies from Miracle already seem like a very well thought out, well researched process against this style of play for Tempo Storm.
And it worked out last time with the amount of research that it seemed like they were able to put in. We see a brush stock actually coming out from Glaurung onto the bottom half there. That's just going to be used early, just making sure that's available over the next Shrine phase whenever it's going to be coming up here for the team. And in the downtime, Tempo Storm looking towards an early night camp. This is where we expect that top lane pressure, that top lane siege.
And that's what kind of, look, how do you achieve making sure to grab all of your soak while also finding the advantage in that lane? The minute Dahaka showed, you could watch the mini-map. Miracle's like, well, the best way we can respond is to just get our own, and then we'll walk up to the gate, mitigate a lot of that damage in. And so the rotation from Miracle was instant, it's quick, it's responsive. I'm telling you, Miracle has done their homework, Dread. It's a very good start for Miracle and Tempo Storm. They've got a lot of work to do still.
Yeah, it's so much so that I would like to see Tempo maybe mix things up here with the rotations. Instead of sieging up in the top half on a very predictable rotation from Miracle that they're all set up and ready to deal with right now, maybe rotate mid, get free pressure there, and then back out afterwards and deal with the night camp. But instead, going with the I mean, this is textbook, right?
Yeah,
for better or for worse, it is textbook. And right now, Miracle is just going, all right, well, if that's all you got, like, we've got the answer. So Tempo Storm,
blank.
Change something up here. Nacho Jin with the collapse.
Nacho Jin coming in. There's going to be the dive back for the peel, but now Caterpillar has no escape option. Cattle trying to stay alive, and very well played there by Miracle again, Dreadnought. Tempo did not even get a tower down. I hate to be so critical about this, but as you said, it has been too textbook to where it's predictable at this point.
And I think the reason it's so kind of maybe frustrating at moments is just not necessarily that it happens at moments in games here for Tempo Storm, but we're looking at a large sample size at this point of a very rinse and repeat approach to these techniques. And it seems that it's very clear that some of these teams are able to handle this very, very well, especially those of the Korean region. So I thought we would see a bit more mix-up maybe from them, but not going to be the case here. Shrines, though, have spawned. We have the temples up. Arth is going to be picking up top lane for Miracle, whereas we see Tempo contesting over mid.
Yeah, they have that Dahaka to get that off-lane pressure to continue to get that soak. For a Li Ming, you have to make your rotation up a little earlier. So right now, Judy and team, they're going to continue to threaten, see if they can stall this. If you look at the bars at the bottom right of your screen, you can see that top temple almost completely channeled. The bottom, or in the middle there, you can see that every time Judy walks forward, it neutralizes it. It doesn't go anywhere. So that means that Arthas rotation can come down. Li Ming will take care of that bottom lane. Once Arthas starts to make his way down, look for Li Ming to make his way up. But Dahaka going to be the first here to try and force them off. We're about to have a team fight, but 7 talent tier advantage in favor of Miracle.
But the Arthas Gray main matchup, Arthas actually losing a little bit there when it came to the 1v1 rotation down. Glaring with a nice burrow there, able to dodge Blue Beetle's Lunar Flare. 4 versus 4 over the mid lane. Drag not going to be landing there as Frankel with a nice teleport out. For now, Tempo Storm controlling the shots, but we got to keep track of that eye. We see that flank down from Nacho Jin. Once he finishes this, expect a collapse.
There's the concussion mine. Actually forces out the dimensional shift of Vin. The drag will land on the backside onto that Arthas. There's just no threat. Tacit are way too weak in the early game. Greymane wants to get his damage Dreadnought in that Worgen form, and when you have an Arthas that slows your auto attacks and a Garrosh that can toss you back in, I mean, it's a tough prospect to try and take advantage of this composition when it's a raw 5-on-5 this early in the game.
Yeah, and it's even kind of tougher when I think we look longer down the road, mainly because, Jay, I was just talking about how when this composition is going anywhere near right for you in the early stages, how when we get to these mid-game plays, you normally are at least structurally ahead. That is not a true statement right now for Tempo Storm after our first Shrine phase. Miracle has won when it came to structure damage on the top half of the battleground. They've done well when it came to a majority of the shots over mid, and they're winning in experience. So right now, it is a perfect game here for Miracle as the Lunar Flare anti-siege comes through. Fan, not going to live long here over on the wrong side of that wall.
Dread, this Miracle team is beyond impressive. Nice use of that burrow charge out by Cattle will buy him enough time to get out of there because the root was coming. But a nice rotation again. Those night camps will be available soon again for these teams to try and play around. You have that full level lead for Miracle, so it could be an opportunity for Miracle now, Dreadnought, to start to snowball this a little in their favor, because what can happen when they get this, there's going to be a decent chunk of XP towards that 10 push. Tempo Storm will likely try and push one of the off lanes, but they'll have to give up basically the entirety or near the entirety of that temple unless something drastic happens here soon. So Miracle in a commanding lead right now in this early game.
Yeah, and they aren't in a position to maybe go for the starting of the boss bout at this time frame if they want to have the 10 spike over Tempo Storm when it comes to that. But Tempo Storm has so much siege on the bottom half, unlikely to be able to make that happen, even more so knowing that Temple phase is up here. Now the question is, what is Temple going to do? They cannot contest the beginning half of this shrine for some time. And look at this, Miracle. They're even willing to take a late start on the boss. This, ladies and gentlemen, is confidence if I have ever seen it.
Well, they're going to make it happen. Tempo Storm will respond with a push mid. That will warrant a response. The wall is down. We've seen this before with an overcommitment previously on this map from a team with a similar strategy. Nice raw stun comes in there from Blue Beetle. The minions are down. Tempo Storm will have to see their way out as they are rounding 10, but not quick enough as that boss picked up, and that bottom temple will be firing on that bottom lane, allowing that boss to push through even quicker.
Only going to be helping the transfer of the shots over to the middle fort, which does have a majority of its front wall, so it's not going to be a double fort play. I don't think that boss is going to get enough damage out for Miracle, but if it is, that's a huge loss when it comes to vision and control of the battleground. Being down 3 forts this early on, if you are Tempo Storm, is a, again, major setback, and even more so considering the composition and the approach going into it.
Arthas might have overstayed. You might actually get a cocoon on that. I was going to say, there's... It's one thing to keep somebody on the point. It just kind of depends on how far away the enemy team was. You want to have somebody with mobility on that point. Nacho Jin is everything but mobility when you're on that Arthas, but now everybody's made the rotation down. Judy gets the groundbreaker in. Cattle comes in for support by using that bro charge. Won't have that stun available momentarily as Tempo Storm. They're still questioning on can they move in. The answer is no.
It should be noted that we actually have the adaptation coming out from Glaurung, trying to be a bit more of a tank here throughout this game, rather than this silence and isolation play that has become oh so meta here since pretty much the Nerfs 2 adaptation. I think it will be really effective because then they do not have to worry so much about the focus going into the Greymane if Glaurung can actually draw that aggro, but I think that is the kind of parameter that is very important to highlight. He needs to be able to draw that aggro, and I mean that is not just being a focus. He has to be able to win trades at some point to some backliner, and I got to be thinking that's Franco there on the Li Ming that he's going to be looking towards.
Well, if you're a Tempo Storm fan, there is one silver lining now because look, despite those 2 kills, despite the losses on the temples, those walls are starting to fall, Dreadnought. You have the Anubrak. So once those walls fall, you kind of have an open opportunity to where you can force the fight. It's just a matter of, is Miracle willing to fight under those forts? You have the spell armor from these Knights. Judy and team, they're controlling vision so they can keep it on the rotation. So for Tempo Storm, not all hope is not lost. Don't get me wrong. It's just Miracle's done such a fantastic job in the early game that it's made it difficult. So Tempo Storm, they're way back into the game, Dreadnought. It becomes more and more limited with every advantage Miracle's picking up. Tempo Storm, we'll see what their answer is they're still waiting on that heroic from Alex Straza. Are we diving? It seems like that might be the case.
I feel like it has got to be the answer there, to get that all-in aggression and get the diving capabilities here for Tempo Storm, get the Cleansing Flame, make sure that everybody like the Tassadar, the Greymane, and more importantly that Dahaka survive there, but it's not going to be the selection.
I find keep that priority target alive. Li Ming, we'll see if Li Ming allows that to happen. When there's that much amount of burst damage or even a Junkrat Riptire coming in, it always makes it tricky. Glaurung, the groundbreaker's hit, he's going to be flipped back in.
Adaptation popped already from him though, so we will get a little bit of heals as we see him get that and the abundance there. Concussion Mine has to be dodged. Taking a lot of damage there though from Frankel on the way out.
But the heals come in. Double temple phase, top, bottom. No boss contention available yet. But Anubrak gets tossed in. He gets instantly blown up by the Riptire. Getting caught, that is a very inopportune time. I was going to say Tempo Storm. You have the global advantage. Maybe force some rotations, force a fight. But now you're down 4 versus 5. This is very tricky as Miracle can basically walk anywhere on the map with true safety.
And that was Judy really doing a great job of manipulating vision and taking advantage of the predictable rotation that is made once those shrines are going to be spawning from Tempo Storm. Just sit right at the max range where they can't see you, predict, okay, I think they mounted up here after 6 seconds, we can probably get the initiation. I mean, how often do you see an Anubrak be the one who gets flipped in Groundbreaker before he can even burrow charge? And again, just all thanks to Judy there and his clever plays on the Garrosh for Miracle.
Well, Miracle, Dreadnought, they saw that opportunity. They moved forward. They got that mid-keep wall, started to get some down, knew the timing. That's what's impressed me so much is every time Miracle finds an advantage, their timing is so good. The snap rotations in defense, the snap rotations for offensive plays. You can see the scouting there with that Sentinel coming out. Everything was there, and then, hey, it's like, you know what? By this time, they should be back here. They have an easy disengage with almost no threat. Everything that Miracle's done has been so good.
It has been so very good here, and now this is an interesting situation we're in, Jay. How Tempo Storm, not only with the siege up on top, but we are only about 20 seconds away from the boss on the bottom half. Miracle will hit that 16 window before Tempo Storm in that time frame, and I can see them using that as a way to maintain control through the remainder of this game. But it is slightly risky. Tempo, that might be one of the chances for them to come back if they want to make that happen. But for now, they already have Nachogen prepping those Giants, trying to demand some response here out from Tempo Storm.
You're 1 kill away, 1 team fight away if you're Tempo Storm from getting back into this game because the Greymane, you find a small advantage, you get 2 to 3 members down, you can instantly siege with any part of this comp to get back into the game. Tempo Storm move forward. They don't have 16 yet, does Miracle, so they'll walk away, but Judy continuing to harass Tempo Storm. These Groundbreakers are insane.
They are very, very good here, and I actually really find the rotation coming out from Miracle interesting there. The decision-making to not commit to the Night Camp, have Nachogen actually get the full back, and then now work on the Knights himself there. I thought that they might look for the early Knights or contest the Giants and pick up the Knights themselves and have them just drive by, pick it up, right, and then go into the boss play. Because they aren't as proactive, I don't think they have that window anymore. That being said, I said that before, and they very confidently were like, you know what, 30 seconds later than what I expected was necessary, we got this, no problem.
Double Temple, moments away. They need 16, does Tempo Storm to take a fair team fight. Right now, it seems like with that vision control, Miracle in a very good position. Stun's gonna miss there onto the Anubrak. Knights available, you can see Judy and team moving over into position. See if they get this steal. Looks like they're coming in to take just that before 16. Glaurung doing his best, Dreadnought, to soak that up so that Tempo Storm can maybe, hopefully, find that one fight to get back into this game.
It feels like it's going to be this one, the 16 into 17, and at some point here for Tempo Storm, they have to get the brush stock play available. This is actually a really bold and, again, confident move coming out from Miracle to get this pressure siege with the double camp on top. It's better enabling what is going to be that top altar for them, but not picking up those shots for free mean that Tempo has an opportunity to contest double camp. I don't think Tempo should be initiating into this wave. Cattle gonna receive some pressure as we see Glaurung with the brush stock onto the backline. Nachojin just fine and comfortable. Both of the Wizards still alive, giving that armor. Glaurung gets the adaptation heal coming through, and Tempo looks to be pushing back Miracle here.
The drag lands, that might be enough. That's gonna be kill number 1. Li Ming not able to get out. That's exactly what Tempo Storm needed. Dread, that was one of the riskiest team fights I've seen all day. I mean, Cattle's like, spell armor, no problem. Burrow charge, I'm using it offensively. They came in, they got that one kill. It's a little, it's not a lot yet. They still have a lot to do, but that is a very positive sign for them.
But the combo comes through. June out too far, too confident, and Judy, much like last game, though. Tempo, do you have a silver lining? Do you have a moment of hope? Let me quick crush that to the ground.
Dread at Tempo Storm, we saw it yesterday. We're seeing it again today. The Garrosh seems to be, I don't know how these flips have happened so often, but Tempo Storm has to ask themselves, they've got to judge the distance. It's making it difficult. Whenever that one person gets picked, that's what a Garrosh does.
It is, and Judy is about the best, it feels like, at doing what Garrosh does best. He is very, very effective within the hero, and as we heard on the panel earlier, that this is not a player that a lot of the Korean teams look at and say, when you look at the entirety of his career, you go, that's a monster. That's got to be a guy that can perform here at this level of play at the HGC Finals, but he has been able to really grow over the years with this transition over to Miracle, along with Blue Beetle here in the team, and it's now they sit here what's feel like moments away from closing out a 3-point victory onto Tempo Storm and having a near flawless group stage so far.
June is about 50 seconds away from having that Dragon Queen available. You have to imagine that Tempo Storm might start looking to get desperate around those boss calls, but you need the Dragon to really be able to accomplish that. Tempo Storm, see if they play around that window. Miracle, they're lurking down there, keeping an eye on things. 20 rounding the corner for Miracle. The top keep almost down on the side of Tempo Storm. The bottom keep almost down. Every small move right now, one more mistake, Tempo Storm, it's over. Miracle will win. Miracle, they've done so well at controlling this game. Doesn't take much more for them to end it.
And inversely, there is a moment here for Tempo Storm to maybe get a power play and start that boss out, especially if they can get the Shrine phase at the exact same time and get a threat onto them. To try and make the members of Miracle split in 2 different decisions. And actually, they're going to try and do that onto Nachojin down here onto the Giants. They get the drag, and they actually get the kill before the heal can come through. Now, Tempo Storm with a moment here to threaten that boss.
Dread straight up, though. Frankel just blinked out of the cocoon. God tier right there. Now that might be enough for him to stay in this fight. That could have been another kill. Tempo Storm, they have the advantage. 5 versus 4. They're going to force the boss fight. No 20 nearby. You see that concussion line down. Frankel on that backside looking to make plays. We'll see. Tempo Storm, they feel like they have to take this fight, Dreadnought.
I feel like they have to as well, and now they're sitting 30 seconds out, but Frankel being able to make it rain over the wall there. Arcane orbs, all the missiles coming through. That scared Tempo Storm for a moment, buying them a bit of seconds. Glaurung here is the man with the aggro onto the boss. There is a nice impale attempt here. Judy with the groundbreaker, stopping Cattle from threatening out. Now 7 seconds. That's going to be 10 before Nachojin is actually back with Miracle here. Tempo Storm, this is a power moment for them. They have to get something here, J-How, if they're going to stand a chance here in this game.
Well, Cocoon back available. See if they can make another play. Had Frankel got caught in that Cocoon, it might have been enough to get that double kill, but that play might have saved the game. Frankel just living on another level at this tournament so far. Tempo Storm moving forward on the Temple. Miracle, they now have 20. Look for them to re-engage. Fan, grab vision for now. But Judy and team, they say it doesn't matter. We're coming in. This is our Temple. See if Tempo Storm will respond. If they still have enough structures, they can give it up, but they will be losing keeps at this stage.
Yeah, it was enough to be minimum top keep for sure. Got to be going down here with the shots. I don't think it's enough to secure the entirety of bottom keep. Tempo might have gotten enough shots here, but we are looking at a very late game Shrine, as it is going to have that final burst. We'll see if Tempo has any structures to call their own when it's all said and done, but we know no matter what, the boss is going to be a huge moment here.
Oh, the last shot. There's no more ground. Your back is against the wall. There's only one way to go, and that is forward for Tempo Storm. 20 picked up. Rewind available for Cattle. See if they can force their hand, force one of these fights. Everybody on Miracle, they're playing back. They're playing safe. We have to wait to see where's the next Temple phase. If it's double Temple phase, Miracle can make so much happen. If it's single, that's exactly what Tempo Storm wants, and that boss always lingering, Dreadnought.
Karung almost with another Miracle drag there onto Frankel. We have to remember that that was the play that happened that got Tempo back into this game into a realistic circumstance. Yes, on the back foot, but
they might siege up with Infinite Archon here.
I think
it's very conceivable they siege up with Archon right here to try and just push this down.
Let's see if they end up going for it here. Judy with the ground
breaker. There it is. Archon's up, Dread. Tempo Storms are going for it. There's going to be stun number 1 on Judy. Judy continuing to move forward, trying to heal up, gets the stun back. Keep goes down. Vin, it's about keeping that alive. He needs things to attack. Minions will be spawning in 1 second. There they are, and now they are on the core. Tempo Storm might be trying to take it right here with that Archon.
Every 30 seconds, Tempo Storm loses a power spike Miracle loses a defense spike here, and that's when Tempo needs to be threatening. Still 15 from the next. Judy getting the flip there onto Glower. That was actually an adaptation used.
Yeah,
that's a very early cooldown used there from Tempo Storm. If they want to try and keep this Archon siege, Finn still trying to keep that up, dodges the Groundbreaker, dodges the Arcane Orb, but uses that dimensional shift.
This is it, double Temple phase. I don't think you can avoid the top bottom. You can see the positioning. Shield still holding for Miracle. Minions are up, the Dragon is out. It might be time's up. Let's do this. Fan and team moving forward. Miracle trying to survive here. Starfall comes down in response. Fan and team need to go away, but Dahaka taking a lot of damage from that keep. The flip comes in. Right now, Vin in down on the backside, but Lifebiter keeps alive. Cattle for now.
But Vin so very low on the back end, and keep in mind that those shots on bottom and on top are going to end the game for Miracle. Tempo has to take the fight, but they end up losing Fan here. Dimensional Shift is not going to keep Vin alive much longer. Nice shield coming out there to stop the reset from Frankel, but he is not done yet. Abundance though, the bait, the turnaround. Tempo is able to get the 1-for-1 here. Nacho Jin now just joining the team, throws down the Howling Blast.
Battle continues here. Cattle there trying to go in, but that's going to be a second member. Dahaka falls, the root comes in. Cattle just re-engages. It's a 2 versus 2. Vin trying to stay alive, but he will be the next to fall. That is 4 members down on Tempo Storm. The catapults have already done some damage, so Miracle will move forward, and they have taken this series 2-0.
Tempo Storm taking a moment to do a Miracle siege, if you will, against the base of Miracle, but it was just too far behind at that point in time. I can understand the decision making. It was a very dire circumstance here, but when it's all said and done, Miracle showing why they are a rising team here at the HGC Finals and look to clean up 3 points and again have a near flawless group stage.
Judy just is terrifying.
Yeah, get him off that game.
So good.
He's a
Look,
monster.
There was one really weird play. I got to go back and watch it because I'm pretty sure that last engagement, the Dragon used the wing buffet to knock away the same time a drag landed from, because I'm like, how does Garrosh, the minute Garrosh gets pulled back in, the Groundbreaker comes in, and that was kind of the initial moment. I'm not sure. I'd love to see that again, but it was a crazy play on how that all unfolded.
And I will go back and, you know, if we are going to say that that is the play that Tempo Storm has to make in that moment, I can very much understand it. I would say one moment that I think that there was a slight overestimation was the choke around the fort that was already dead. The Abundance was thrown into that corridor, but you know who had an absolute heyday? Junkrat, just making it rain with those grenades. That was why Vin could do nothing on the backline to try and help the team and support it out. And I can't help but feel like if Tempo, they go back and watch that VOD, they're going to go, we needed to find a way to break up, split up here, because right now that Junkrat, he's doing way too much damage.
Just everything about that game for Miracle, the series, they had so much control. It was great to watch, and now we actually get to hear from our winners because Kevin's on the stage with Miracle.
That's right, Jay Howe. I'm standing here with Nacho Jin from Miracle. Obviously a tense ending to that last game, but technically a flawless performance so far in the group stage. How are you feeling about Miracle's performance so far?
네, 방금은 굉장히 접전인 경기를 펼쳤었는데 그래도 승리를 거머쥐셨잖아요. 기분이 어떠신가요?
일단은 지금 젠지 경기를 앞두고 있지만 아직 조이로 계속 하고 있기 때문에 기분은 엄청 좋아요. 네, 조1위요. 네.
So they're looking for, they're gonna have the match against Genji coming up, but still they're ranking the first in their in their group stage, so they feel awesome and great.
And you know, I have a specific question in that regard. We know that your seed coming out of Korea technically is number 3, but your performance here in the group stage, as well as previous performances like victory over Genji previously, seem to point that you're a stronger team. Do you feel like Miracle is the best team coming out of Korea right now?
그래서 한국에서는 지금 3위로 들어오신 걸로 알고 있는데, 근데 지금 젠지를 이긴 전적도 있고, 그리고 지금 경기력을 보면은 진 전적이 없잖아요. 지금 최고로 전성기처럼 달리고 있는데, 그러면은 지금 한국 팀 중에서 최고로 잘 나가는 팀이라고 생각하시나요?
이거는 절대 겸손한 게 아니라 저희 팀이 아직 많이 부족하다고 생각해서 그래도 한국 최고팀은 젠지라고 생각하고 저희가 이제 이번 블리즈컨에서 모든 팀을 다 이기게 된다면 그때서야 좀 최고팀이라고 얘기할 수 있을 것 같아요.
So they're not being humble, but honestly they're saying they don't think they are not the best. Even though they have beaten Genji, they still think Genji is the #1 Korean team. And if they actually get the victories in the entire BlizzCon this year, then they might start to think they might be the best.
Fair enough. That's good. Now, Nachijin, you're a veteran to this game. You're a previous BlizzCon champion as well. I want to know what your hopes are going into next week's BlizzCon. What do you personally hope to get out of your experience there?
저번에 블리즈컨에서 우승한 기록이 있으셔서 이제 그거를 베이스로 어떻게 이번 블리즈컨은 어떻게 바라보고 있는지 소감 한마디 얘기해 주세요.
내일 젠지전에서 일단 젠지와 팀 리퀴드가 1대1이 돼가지고 저희가 젠지 한 세트만 따면 조이로 진출을 해요. 그래서 조이로 진출을 하면은 그만큼 8강이 좀 쉬운 상대가 걸리지 않을까 싶어서 그렇게 조이로 진출을 하고서 결승까지 꼭 가고 싶어요.
So the match tomorrow, against Genji tomorrow, if they just win just one game, then that still means they will be the first in the group stage. Yeah. So if that happens, then who knows? They might meet someone easier to go against on the top 8. So they're looking forward to see how it goes.
All right, well, you got a week to prepare and to rest up. Congratulations on your work so far, and good luck in the rest of the group stage. All right, guys, that's it from Nachogen and Miracle. We're headed back to you.
Miracle versus Genji promises to be one of the matches of the entire group stage that you must not miss. It's going to be so fantastic. Now, looking at the games that we had between Tempo Storm and Miracle, you know, we're going to go back to drafting. We're going to continue to talk about Tempo Storm's drafting. I'm starting to wonder now, seeing something that was so broadcast as a Nubarak and Greymane, and then allowing that Garrosh to get through twice, is there any world where maybe Tempo Storm approaches this and says, we're through, we know we're going to be facing a tough team no matter what, why don't we just continue to show what we've shown and then hide what might be left and give that time when they have in between breaks?
And that's been my narrative leading into many of these series that I've been on the desk for. It's just like, you know, how do they want to go into this? How much do they want to show? But then also, in a funny kind of sense, though, Wolf, right? It's kind of like the Miracle guys saying, we're going to ban you if we're going to ban your pocket picks. You actually have to play other heroes. We're kind of like doing you a favor. We kind of want to see what you actually have prepared. And yes, it didn't work in this series here. They did get 2-0. Miracle looking very, very strong. But, you know, Tempo Storm, as you quite correctly say, they're through. They can prepare for BlizzCon, they can bring up something new, and they can try again.
Yeah, it just felt like some things were broadcast, but also you have to shout out Miracle's preparation. They didn't underestimate a Tempo Storm. They got picks that directly countered things that Tempo Storm were wanting to do, and they even knew their rotations.
I think there's a difference between, when we talk about Miracle, right? Nachogen says, I don't think I'm the best until we win.
Mm-hmm.
You come in as 3rd seed, and Genji is #1 seed, right? In terms of the entirety of the format, you know, and how round robin works. But I think at the end of that round robin, and after playoffs, of course, where they went through the entire gauntlet, I think in that moment, even though standings say otherwise, they were the best team in Korea. They'd already proven it. They'd already beaten Tempest and Ballistics and Genji. And I think that when you look at that amount of humbleness, the amount of hard work, the amount of preparation coming in this, like I think and they're going to go through, and if they beat Gen G 2-0, which they haven't lost to Gen G yet, they're going to come in with a perfect record. I think we actually have to start saying, like, this team right here, this is the favorites to win BlizzCon, actually. Like, I think we actually have to say that. Can we, is there any evidence to the contrary?
Well, that's not in the script. That's not the storyline.
I know that's not what everyone wants to hear. There's a third seed from Korea is now the favorite of BlizzCon. I know everyone wants to see Dignitas versus, you know, formerly MVP Black, now Gen G. They want to see the rematch from Midseason Brawl. Fnatic's not here, so that's the Europe versus Korea storyline everyone wants. But
wait a second.
I mean, I think.
Oh, I know what he's doing. I know he's trying to get it so that Gen G are the underdogs, so then everyone in the crowd roots for Gen G as the underdogs of the story, and that's the real thing. He's just trying to get Gen G another win. I see it through the strategy.
I mean, someone prove me wrong. Like, is this team not undefeated? Like, they just won against Tempo Storm 2-0. If they beat Gen G tomorrow, they take it 2-0. Like, don't we have to say this team is BlizzCon champion favorites now? And I think at that moment, we have to realize, you know, they've beaten Gen G 3 times if they do that tomorrow this year. So I think we all have to kind of step back and be like, whoa, like that team is actually the best team in the group. They might be the best team in this tournament. I think people aren't talking about that right now. People are talking about, well, what's going on in the other group? What's going on with Dignitas? You know, oh, Gen G lost a map to Liquid. It's crazy. Korea might not win, but look at this team. This is the team to look at right now.
Jimmy, you have anything to add to that before we go to break?
That was so dramatic. I think he summed up all my thoughts. I just had a smile.
Yeah? Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave. All right, guys. We've got more to come. Team Liquid is going to try to continue their tear versus China's #1 seed Beyond the Game after the break. See you soon.
15 fight though, Dreadnought. They're starting to move in. Fan being flipped in.
Lunar Flare goes down, but the hunt on the backline. Blue Beetle's in a bad spot, and he's actually going to go down. Tempo find their first kill, but it comes at the cost there of Fan. 1 for 1 so far. Cattle on the point, has a lot of HP there. Illidan going to dash back in. Nacho Jin falling very low, and Glorong actually trying to find the kill into the fray, saves his life. Judy flips it over, and Tempo Storm losing so many members. Frankel in the corner with that scatter arrow, just cleaning up shot. Nacho Jin falling extremely low, J-House.
Ancient Blessings pop to try and stay alive. They need to turn to get some autos. There's going to be the taunt. Judy on the front line somehow surviving. The Dragon Arrow in return. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Warden's cage is down. This is chaos right now. But Miracle low. They're trying to run away from this Illidan composition. And right now they have managed to retreat. But Sniper says, hold on, I'm not done yet. Goes back in, Dread.
If Glau ends up getting one of these kills, he might be able to clean up the rest of the team. But look at that two-man flip out from Judy. And he quickly says, no, Tempo Storm.
Comes in right now. Bin in down on the backside, but Lifebiter keeps alive. Cattle for now.
But Vayne so very low on the back end, and keep in mind that those shots on bottom and on top are going to end the game for Miracle. Tempo has to take the fight, but they end up losing Fan here. Dimensional Shift is not going to keep Vayne alive much longer. Nice shield coming out there to stop the reset from Frankel, but he is not done yet. Abundance though, the bait, the turnaround. Tempo is able to get the 1-for-1 here. Nacho Jin now just joining the team, throws down the Howling Blast.
Battle continues here. Cattle there trying to go in, but that's going to be a second member to Haka Falls. The root comes in. Cattle just re-engages. It's a 2 versus 2. Vin trying to stay alive, but he will be the next to fall. That is 4 members down on Tempo Storm. The catapults have already done some damage.